So I'm going to look at a Sharp LC37D62U. It's got a bit of a problem with the picture. See the lines in the picture? This is our problem. Those thin lines. That is the problem with this set. Of course, this set looks familiar to one that I had a while back, which had the heat sinks on the timing controller board. It's not quite the same set, but it's very similar. The timing controllers on this, on the top, on this set. I'm just tapping the timing controller board, or actually tapping the shield to it. We have a connection problem on the board, the T-Con board. So let's pull the board out and see whether we can find the problem. Set is not in really great shape. It's got a shitty picture. There, you can see it there on the pumpkin channel. But there's my channel. My copyright owning material I can show without having to worry about pulling a strike. You can see the problem here. This is a, oh, love these old LCDs. It looks like crap. So let's pull the T-Con board out and see if we can find the problem. It's could be one of the connections. Touch the tabs here, they don't seem to be doing anything. I think it's probably going to be one of the BGA mounted chips. That's what I had a problem with before. So let's pull this apart and see what shape it's in. It's definitely on the timing controller board, because that's the board that I was tapping, or more accurately, the shield. I was tapping the shield. Just tap it with my hand and it'll change. There we go, see, now it's changed. Now it doesn't look as bad. It still doesn't look great, but we got a connection problem on here. Let's get the T-Con, turn it around here. Also, this has got a screen problem too. If you notice, there's a dark area on the screen. This screen is going bad. This is a common problem on LCD screens. They get what looks like a watermark on them. They get blotchy. That's the screen. I can't do anything about that. I'm going to try and get rid of the lines. This is a client set, so the fact that the LCD itself is just about toast, I'm not going to put a lot of effort into this thing. See if I can get it going for him. It's for an old friend, his daughter's TV, so I'll see whether we can at least solve the problem with the lines on it. That's what he brought it to me for, was the lines. I'm not even going to mention the screen problem, because I may not even notice that, but I sure do. It should be noted that this set is a fluorescent backlit. There's the fluorescent tubes there. Here's the driver on the other side. Where is it here? Here's the driver board. So each one of these little transformers is putting out high voltage. Each one of these supplies 2 lamps. So that goes into one lamp, and that comes back from the second lamp. And on the other side of the screen, you'll see that here's your 2 lamps. Lamp 1 is connected to lamp 2, so it goes in series. One lamp goes this way and it comes back and goes back the other way. So if we look at this set here, we'll see that it has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. This one has 20 fluorescent tubes. 20 little tiny, probably 3mm fluorescent tubes behind it. And of course, today, those are all replaced by LEDs. What was more reliable? Well, you know what? I think that history has proven that the fluorescent backlit LCD sets have historically been more reliable. It wasn't very often you had a tube go bad on these sets, but the LEDs, that's a different story. So of course, to get to the timing controller, we have to remove these brackets. One screw on the top and one screw on the bottom. And then we've got to remove this large shield that covers the main and timing controller boards. Now, just from the nature of the symptom, I know that the problem is going to be on the T-Con board, which is this board right here. So now I have to just take the do some wire clips here, take these wires out of the way, and we'll get the shields out of place. So I'm just gonna take the shield off on this thing without the camera running, because I'm listening to Donald Trump go down in flames here on the presidential debate. So I'm gonna have my TV sound running here while I'm taking this apart, but I'll pick up the recording again once I've got the shield apart. Okay, now you can see I got the shield off. You can see what's going on now. I'm just gonna touch one of the cables here. I'll show you what I'm touching on this. I'm touching the LDBS cable, and when I actually tap the main chips on the board here, this is where the problem. This is a timing controller board here, but I'm actually tapping the main board, and that's where it's changing the picture. So if I tap the main chips on the back here, it's changing. I'll go over to the timing controller, tap that board. It's not. So we'll look at the main board. So I've got it boiled down to the video chip here. When I tap around the board here, and as you can see, the heat sink goop on this is, well, it's not doing a very good job of keeping this chip cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reflow this. I'm just going to get my heat gun out, and we'll just reflow the solder on this here. I'm just going to put some flux on it around the board, and we'll cook this with the heat gun for a bit and see if I can reflow the solder on this BGA chip. I'm pretty sure this is where the problem is. I'll probably do both of these chips here at the same time when I've got it apart. So I'm just going to prep the board. I got my solder rosin here, so I'm just going to get some and we'll flood the board with it here. Try and get some in around the chip here on all sides of the chip. Okay, so I'm just going to put I've just put some heat shield around the chips, as I don't want the heat from the heat gun to damage other components in the area, so I don't want to lift off any other parts. So I'm going to get the heat gun now, and we're going to get it warmed up and start reflowing these ICs. You can see the rosin is now bubbling up from under the chip as I get the solder up to melting temperature. I'm holding the heat gun about 4 or 5 inches above the board. I don't want to get it too hot. I just want to get the chip hot enough to melt the solder, but not overheat it. Now I'll go to the other chip. I'm gonna let it cool and we'll reinstall it and test it. So I'm just gonna put on some more of the silicone heat sink. These are like a pad. I'm putting a thicker one on, so when I attach the heat sink, it will compress and provide a little better heat transfer to the heat sink. So I'm just going to reattach the heat sink here to the board. Put the little plastic inserts back in. Okay, just reattaching the board. Gonna put the RF connector back on it, and then we're ready to plug it in and see if it does anything. Gonna reconnect cables. Connect the power cable, the LVDS cable. And the 3 interconnect cables down here for the AV inputs. And of course the tuner cable and the control panel cable. Now the moment of truth. See if the unit actually works. Power it up. Moment of truth. Is it going to work or isn't it going to work? Power. There we go. Power is on. It looks great. Let's tap the IC. I have a feeling that I fixed another one. There you go. That's another BGA nightmare. Just reflowed it with the heat gun and saved another one of these TVs from the scrap heap. We'll just assemble this unit here and give the owner a call and let him know that he can pick up his TV. So I can't do anything about that because that's the screen itself that's starting to go bad, but hey, it's working. It's got a picture on it now, and it's looking a lot better than it was looking before. I'm going to put it together and we'll do some more testing on it, and then I'll get it out of here. So of course we have to put the shield back on. These old sets used to produce a fair bit of noise. The electronics were not very well shielded and they operated at quite high signal levels compared to the new sets. New sets you don't have anywhere near the number of shields that the old ones did, because the older sets were working at higher voltages. The ICs were typically working at 5 volts, whereas now a lot of stuff is down at like 1.8 and 3.3. The older ones were running at a little bit higher voltage, so it had a tendency to throw a bit more noise around, and they wanted to try and contain that electromagnetic noise that could cause interference to radio communication. So they tended to shield the digital circuits with a lot of shielding. Probably not necessary, but that was one of the first things that went on the new TVs. You see very little shielding, if any, on them. Even the power supplies aren't shielded. I remember some of the really old ones had tons and tons of shielding. I kind of like my old plasma here. I mean, damn, this thing's got a good picture. That set's got a, this is not a high definition set, but man, that thing's got a good picture on it. I've just been watching the debate here, the last of the debates. Not that I follow American politics, but it was certainly entertaining, that's for sure. We're gonna get the rest of the shield on here and get the brackets reattached, and then we'll give it another test. One thing to note when you're attaching the brackets at the back, the spacing of the screws is different for the top and bottom. So if you get it upside down, the screws won't line up. There's an alignment pin and then a screw. Whoops, and that's not the right size screw. Okay, help if I have the right size screw to go in here. I got one more screw that goes in right here. Onto the shield. It goes in there. That goes in right here. Plug in the power again. This power supply looks familiar. I think I fixed one of these once on another set. We use the same design. There we go. Looks perfect. Okay, let this thing run. Get the back on it. Get the guy that owns it a call and get it out of here. Now, before anybody criticizes me, because I know that there's going to be people out there that are going to criticize my repair techniques using the heat gun. Okay, because every time I've used a heat gun on a BGA chip, I've had some smart ass criticize me about it, telling me that I need to get a rework station. So I'm going to emphasize I'm not in the business of repairing equipment anymore. I don't do this for a living. I don't do it to make any money. The money I make is all from my YouTube revenue, so please do watch my ads. Because if I don't get the revenue from YouTube, from say people using ad blockers and stuff, if the revenue dries up from YouTube, from the views, and I do get statistics, so I know how many people are using ad blockers and not watching the ads, so I know how the videos are performing. And basically it boils down to if the videos don't perform well enough to make it worth my while to do these videos, I'll stop doing them. That's the bottom line, guys. I don't make any money fixing this stuff for people. A lot of this stuff I fix for next to nothing. I don't do this for a living anymore. I'm in a completely different business, and I more or less do this as a hobby, but I do make money from the advertising revenue that's made from the videos. If you like seeing these videos, please keep watching, and do let the ads play, because that's the only way I make any money. And if I don't make any money off of the advertising, and that's due to people either not watching the ads or using ad blockers and so forth, I'll just stop making them. Like so many other very talented producers that have done technical type videos, there's a lot of the guys that were doing them aren't doing them anymore, and that's the very reason. It's because it's not economical for us to do them. Please don't criticize the way I repair these units. I do this for a reason. I'm trying to teach people how you can repair these things on a shoestring budget. Naturally, if you're going to be trying to make a living fixing TVs, you're going to invest hundreds of dollars in BGA reflow equipment to do it. I'm not. I'm trying to do this as economically as possible. As you can see, my success rate is very good. I've had very few that I've not been able to fix, and I've had even fewer of them that have not lasted. When I did the fix using the halogen lamp on my Argh receiver, that was over a year ago. I did it in May of 2015. It's now the middle of October 2016, and that receiver is still working, despite everybody jumping all over me saying, that's not going to last. That's not going to last. When I used a heat gun to fix my Dell PC, my old laptop computer, that was almost a year ago that I did that. That's still working too. So, maybe some people haven't had as good of luck. The technique that I've used to fix these devices, I've had very good luck. So your mileage may vary, but for me, I've had very good luck servicing stuff this way. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.